Welcome back to our immersion series. We're here for some standing vinyasa flow. How will that feel to expand in the body and find our maximum range of motion? Get some blood flowing, allow the lymph to drain, have some equal inversions, and also expansion, working on the fact that yoga asana is here to be expansive. We're here to create more space in our human body. You ready? All right, we'll begin standing at the top of our mat. Allow your feet to be hips width apart. This is roughly 2 fists between the middle of the foot. And sometimes yoga was invented by men, and so we have this toes together kind of position, which is traditional classical hatha. And that's totally acceptable, but for many women with wide hips like myself, we find that stepping the feet apart allows for this expansion. So see how this feels. Begin to root down into your feet, press down into the earth, and even out to the sides as if you could drag your feet away from one another off the mat. Gently lift all 10 toes up off the ground, and then place them back down, nice and spread out, yoga toes. When you're ready, bring your hands to the heart center and pay special attention to the space between your palms. Allow the eyes to close. Tap into your breath. If you're an advanced practitioner, begin to lift the pelvic floor. And when you're ready, gently inhale, allow the arms to come up over the top of the head. Relax the shoulders, lift the heart. And then see what it feels like to lift the shoulders and reach up through the tips of your fingers. Feel the expansion between the ribs. Remember, this segment is to create space in the body. When you're ready, exhale, you can swan dive, forward fold. Keep that outward motion through the legs. Slight bend in the knees if you're just warming up for the day. We'll begin to shift the tail side to side, wagging the hips a little bit. You can say yes with the head, no with the head. When you're ready, inhale up halfway. Start to tuck in the lower ribs. Find that contraction in the abdomen, abdominal center. Exhale, hands come down, and we'll step one foot and then the other back into a plank pose. Now here in plank, we're going to play with expansion. Press back through the heels and reach forward through the heart. Lift the belly away from the earth. You can see that motion in these two beautiful students here. Do it one more time, pressing back through the heels, reach forward through the heart, press the ground away, and lift the belly away from the floor. If we engage Mula Bandha here, we'll even come up to the tips of the toes. When you're ready, exhale, come over to your right hand, right foot, and we'll find Vashisthasana side plank. Left hand comes up to the sky. Make sure to keep the hips high. Breath is nice and full. And then we'll work on range of motion of left arm over the top of the head. Exhale, place it back on the earth. Keep the belly high away. You can re-stabilize through the hands. Fingers spread out as wide as possible, and then we'll go over to the left. Left hand, left foot, foot flexed. Right arm reaches up toward the sky. Start to lift through the hips. Tuck in the lower ribs. Find that abdominal center. And when you're ready, right arm comes over the top of the head. Back to the earth. We find plank. Keep the belly nice and high. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, down dog. Start to shake the hips side to side. Come into your hips if you'd like to lift the heel of the hand off the mat. Start to experiment with how it feels. This is a really great way to test your hydration or not. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Beautiful. And then you can place the heel of the hand back down, re-ground, pressing pressure into the knuckles. On your inhale, come to stillness and lift right leg nice and high. Hip can open, no problem. Start to experiment, perhaps rolling through the ankle. Gaze forward between your thumbs to equalize the shoulders. Pressing evenly into right hand. When you're ready, exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Gaze under left armpit to see your right toes. Engage through both thighs as you inhale, straighten leg. Exhale, step right foot forward between the hands. Begin to come into a runner's lunge, front and back. And begin to shift your weight forward and backward over your back toe. Beautiful. Fingertips can stay on the earth. Feel the grounding of this pose. Feel the pulling up through the feet, the thighs into the groin. And find your breath. Have some fun here. Put on your favorite music. When you're ready, come to stillness in center. We'll allow left back knee to lower. And inhale, arms sweep up over the top of the head. Start to engage left glute, the buttocks. See what that does to open, create space in left front of thigh. On your next exhale, place your hands on the earth. Step back into Vashisthasana, left hand outside of left foot facing the rice fields, or whatever way it is in your house. And then we'll exhale, keep the hips high, right arm over the top of the head. Place it down on the earth, and we'll take our first vinyasa. So remember, from plank, reach back through the heels, forward through the heart, keep the belly and tail away from the earth, and then allow the elbows to bend toward the hips. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, engaged. We inhale forward and up, and gently, slowly from the abdominal center, exhale back, downward facing dog. Nice deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Starting to feel this slow burn in the body. This is what true yoga is. When we race through, we exhaust the nervous system. So from here, we'll keep the nervous system in check. Inhale, lift left leg nice and high, three-legged dog. Find your breath here, equalize into both hands. When you're ready, bend the knee, open the hip. Both thighs nice and strong. You can engage left buttocks to lift left knee even higher. When you're ready, inhale, straighten the leg. And exhale, use your abdominal center to step left foot forward between the hands. Come to the tips of the fingers. Shift your weight forward and backward, runner's lunge. Start to feel how you're opening into right hip here. Squeeze right buttocks to release the psoas muscle, our main hip flexor on the right side. Find your breath, perhaps find your drishti, your focal point, gorgeous. And from here, we'll allow the back knee to come down to the earth and the arms to sweep up over the top of the head. Inhale. Squeeze again through right buttocks. You can press down through top of right foot. And the gaze can either be out in front of you or up over the top of the head, depending upon what feels open in your back today. And on this side, we'll do the same thing we did standing. Inhale and allow the shoulders to sink, the heart to lift. One exhale there. And then inhale, reach the shoulders up toward the sky, up toward the ears. Really expand through the fingertips and feel the space we've created in the intercostal muscles between the ribs. Exhale, gently, slowly bend your elbows, bring your hands back to the earth. Step left foot back to meet the right and come into Vashisthasana, side plank, Lord Vashistha pose. Right hand down, right outside edge of the foot. Find your breath. Tuck in the lower ribs. Lift the hips nice and high. Use the earth. Flex the feet. Thighs engage. Left arm over the top of the head. And then exhale, allow it to come to the earth. Keep the belly high away from the ground and take a vinyasa. Forward and up, inhale. And gently, slowly come back. Use the abdominal center. Nice deep inhale. That's it. Moving a little faster now with this same strength. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Use your abdominal center. Inhale, come into standing lunge. Back heel off the earth. Left buttocks engaged. Arms come up over the top of the head. And exhale, hands to heart center. Keep that stability in the legs. Beautiful. And we'll exhale, come forward to 45 degrees. Tuck in the lower rib. Create space between the right thigh and the belly. Front knee over front ankle. And from that, we exhale into a twist. Gazing toward Mount Agung here in Bali. You see the mountain, the volcano? It's gorgeous. When you're ready, inhale. If you'd like to open your wings, you can. Spread out right toes to stabilize. And then we'll inhale gently, slowly press into right foot. Keep the knees bent and open up to warrior two, facing the opposite side of your mat. One breath here. Strengthen through the thighs. Engage right buttocks. And then inhale, straighten right leg. Lift right toes off the earth. Flip right palm. We'll come into reverse Trikonasana. Nice side bend here. And then on your next exhale, unwind. Bend front knee, windmill your arms back down to the earth, square the hips, and move through a vinyasa. If you'd like to try out a three-legged vinyasa. You're welcome to try. Inhale forward and up. And on your exhale, following your own natural breath, exhale back. Here in downward facing dog, we revisit some activation in the front of the thighs and the abdominal center. We notice that as we tuck in the lower ribs, beautiful, we get this inner power that we call Uddiyana Bandha. We'll take one more breath here. And when you're ready, inhale, lift left leg up to the sky. And exhale, step it forward between the hands. Inhale, reach the arms out and up to the side over the top of the head. Start to engage through right buttocks. Really ground down into the earth. With the arms up, well, shoulders to ears. Feel the space in the intercostal muscles. And then when you're ready, exhale, draw the hands to heart center, down across the face into the chest. Keep the legs nice and strong. Inhale. Start to tip the pelvis forward, lifting through the pubic bone. And exhale, come into 45 degrees. We'll find our twist. Make sure that it's coming from the abdominal center, not from the elbow and then shoving, yeah? So find the twist from the abdominal center. We'll stay here, tuck in the lower ribs, create that space between the belly and thigh. And then inhale if you'd like, open the arms. One more breath. And gently and slowly unwind, lifting through the pelvic floor using the abdominal center. Right heel comes to the earth, warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2, front knee over front ankle. One breath here. And then gently, slowly straighten left leg, flip left palm. Lift all 10 toes off the earth, spread them out wide. Place them down, and then we'll meet up with Danny here in reverse triangle. So in this pose, make sure there's not so much compression in the right side of the body, lots of expansion between the left set of ribs. She can even tuck in the lower ribs a little bit more, find that strength. Beautiful. One more breath here, and then we'll exhale through a bent knee. Windmill the arms down to frame the foot. And step back through your vinyasa. If you'd like, three-legged. Keep the belly high away from the earth. Inhale forward and up. Exhale back. All right, one more little sequence here, creating space in the body. We'll pay attention first to downward facing dog. We often have to push our heels into the earth. That's what we're directed from classical Hatha yoga. Well, my question is, what if we can create more space? What would it feel like to lift the heels up? Lift the heels up. So that you no longer see this crease in the front of the ankle. And then when you're ready, allow the hips to sink down naturally and stop just before you see this crease. So your heels will be a little higher than they normally are. And then from there, you can press back into your hips a little bit more, making sure to tuck in the lower ribs. You feel more space there? Beautiful. Try it out at home. And from this downward facing dog, one last flow, right leg up, inhale, exhale, step it forward. Inhale, arms up over the top of the head. Exhale, hands to heart center. Come into your twist. Inhale, arms open. And then exhale, use the lifting of the pelvic floor, the tucking of the abdomen to unravel into warrior two. We've done this, we've been here before. We'll stay here and do reverse warrior rather than reverse trikonasana. Inhale. And then exhale, hands frame the foot. Left arm and left outside of the foot, Vashisthasana, facing the rice fields. And then exhale, right arm over the top of the head, keep the belly high, move through a vinyasa. Inhale forward and up, and exhale back. When you're ready, left leg comes nice and high, inhale. Exhale, step left foot forward between the hands, do so silently. When you're ready, inhale, arms up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Come into your twist. Use that space between belly and abdomen to create space. Inhale, arms open if you'd like. Exhale there. And then inhale, warrior two, really using leg and buttocks muscles. One more breath here. And then come into reverse warrior. Inhale, unravel, unwind, back to warrior two. Windmill the arms down, outside edge of right foot, right hand. Vashisthasana. If it feels comfortable to bring the gaze to the sky, you can do so, and then left arm over the top of the head. Take a vinyasa. Beautiful. Moving with your breath and your strength, using the earth. From downward facing dog, gently, slowly allow the knees to come to the outside edges of the mat, the big toes to touch. Crawl your hands backward and your belly between the thighs. Forehead rests down. We'll take a few breaths in balasana, child's pose. Take a few breaths beginning here in child's pose. We'll continue to work on the expansion in the body using this mini flow from our previous segment. In this, I'd like you to begin to breathe so deeply into the belly that you feel it on the inside of the thighs. Allow the breath to lift up through the entire spine. Know that you have lung tissue at the upper shoulders, on the very top of the back. Breathe into my hands, both here and here. How expansive can you make your breath? The breath is where the movement is sourced from. Beautiful. And gently, slowly, when you're ready, begin to walk your hands back toward your knees. Keep your head heavy, nourishing the nervous system in this way. Close the eyes if they're not already closed. Step the knees together and sit for a moment in Vajrasana, thunderbolt pose, hands facing down upon the thighs. With the eyes closed, we can tap back into the breath. It's really important to know that your breath is not only your guide through your movement in vinyasa flow, but your breath itself is what will dictate your nervous system. And so we have to make sure that we pay attention to the breath. The difference between yoga and gymnastics is that we never want to get out of breath. We never want to allow the nervous system to unravel in that way. Always pay attention to a full, slow, steady breath. When we go beyond the breath, we've gone beyond. When we're ready, gently, slowly inhale, come up to stand upon the knees. You can step some space between the knees, just like you did between the feet at the beginning of the last segment, and inhale, arms up over the top of the head. Do the same thing here. Shoulders come down, away from the ears, lift the heart, and then see what it feels like to lift the shoulders up. Create some space in the side body. Imagine that you were a child hanging from the monkey bars. What would that feel like? When you're ready, gently exhale and bring the hands to the lower back. We'll move into Ustrasana. So the fingertips point up toward the sky. We ground the heel of the hand down into the pelvis. And we inhale, lift up through the heart. Exhale, gently lean back into it, keeping the pubic bone reaching forward. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, reach the pubic bone forward. On your next inhale, gently come up. Come out of it, sit back on the heels. Bring your hands to the mat. We'll come into tabletop. From here, we'll make sure there's enough space widthwise between the hands and widthwise between the knees. Enough space between the wrists and the knees to account for the length of your body. When you're ready, inhale, come up, nose and tail lift. And then exhale, curl the tailbone under, allow the movement to come up through the spine. Follow through your own cat and cow, each inhale lifting, and each exhale coming down. Tucking in the chin. And as you do this, allow the movement to start to come from the lower ribs. See what that feels like to really tuck in the lower ribs. We're exploring here Uddiyana Bandha. Beautiful. And now next time that you're in an inhale position, I'll invite you to start to spread out wide through the shoulders and the sitting bones. What would it feel like to make your sitting bones go out and your shoulders come out? You can even press down and out through your hands. And continue to move through. Try it one more time, right here. When you come into your inhale, This is a joint movement called nutation. Spread through the sitting bones. Press the hands in and out. You could even press your arms into my hands here. Yeah, feel that outward motion. And as you move through, maybe the next time you curl up, come to the tips of your fingers. We're starting to create more space in this habitual movement. Come to the tips of your fingers here, Denny. And see how that creates more space for your exhale. So exhale, tips of fingers. Wow, beautiful. Look at that curve in the spine. This is one we're really exploring. And as you inhale, you can allow the heel of the hand to come back down. So one more time, one more round. Whenever you are on your inhale, you dip up and press out through the wrists side to side and expand wide through the sitting bones. Find this space in the body. And on your next exhale, come up to the tips of the fingers. Find the space created in the upper shoulder girdle. And then gently, slowly come to neutral spine. Tuck your toes under and return to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. From here, when you're ready, lift right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step it forward between the hands. We'll ground through the back foot, sweep the arms up, and find Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. Virabhadrasana 1 is a really interesting pose because classic Hatha Yoga shows us that this is done with the feet almost parallel. Right? BKS Iyengar came in and invited some more space to be created in the body. And so for the first, let's say, 10 years that I practiced this pose, I had that 2 fist width distance between my feet. So if you're newer to yoga, it might be helpful to create that space between your feet to allow the hips to align. Wherever you are, start to engage left buttocks. See how that involves the posture. One more breath here. When you're ready, gently exhale. Place the hands down, and we'll go back into our favorite pose. Come on, Vashisthasana, left side of the foot, left hand. Lift, flexing, flexing, flexing. Big toe mounds touch, maybe some space between the heels. Use the lift of the hips and the tucking in of the lower ribs to find your own power. You're so powerful. It's about tapping into that because it's already there. When you're ready, right arm reaches over the top of the head and take a vinyasa. Keeping the belly away from the floor, all of these things that we worked on in segment 1. Inhale forward and up. Even press the wrists out to the side once again. See how that feels? Yeah. Feel that? Gorgeous. When you're ready, exhale, tuck in the lower ribs, come on back. And we're going to go through that same joint concept of nutation here. So it's as if the sitting bones come out to the side. See if you can feel that. Sitting bones part away from one another. We're exposing the inner pelvic groin here, and then reacting to that with engagement of Mula Bandha, the lift of the pelvic floor. When you're ready, inhale, left leg comes to the sky. Exhale, step left foot forward. Lots of space between belly and earth. When you're ready, right heel comes down, and arms reach over the top of the head. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. We'll begin to root down through the outside edge of the right foot and lift up through the arch of the foot. Yes. Start to notice all of these small muscles in the lower leg engage. That's what we do in yoga. We start to engage certain muscles that we ignore normally. So I'm going to have you, Jonah, step your right foot a little closer to your left. Get that 45-degree angle. And what I'm going for here, gorgeous, is less creases in the front of the right ankle. Begin to lift up even more. Yeah, you feel that in your leg? Gorgeous. I won't keep them there too long. I won't keep you at home too long. When you're ready, gently, slowly, exhale, bring the hands back down to the earth. Feel that space between belly and thigh and belly and earth. Right hand down, outside edge of right foot. Find Vashisthasana, side plank. A little space between the heels, the lift of the hips, the tucking in of the lower ribs. And then exhale, left arm over the top of the head. Belly away from earth, and take a vinyasa. Exhale back. And together we'll take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. It's really good to nourish the nervous system in this way. Downward facing dog, traditionally an inversion, is actually a resting posture. And so allow yourself to rest here. Do whatever you feel you need, if that's really bending the knees, getting into the body, wagging the tail, even if you'd like to lift one leg and then the other. Beautiful. And we'll measure out for proper distance here for a downward facing dog. I'd like you to come forward, shift your weight forward into plank. And so notice how you might have to step your feet back. Keep your feet and hands exactly where they are, and from there, shift back into downward facing dog. Begin to notice no creases at the front of the ankles, lifting up to the point where we see the crease, tucking in the lower ribs right here. Yes, gorgeous. That was a fantastic modification there, Denny. And then pressing back, using the floor, really pressing into all parts of the hand, even clawing at the earth a little bit with your finger pads. Continue to tuck in the lower belly. This round is what gives you your power. When you're ready, inhale, lift up to the tips of the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, and hop or step forward silently to the front of your mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. First forward fold of class here. I invite you to find that distance between the feet that we had in the last segment. So 2 fist widths between the inner arch of the foot. And then if you want, begin to press your feet away from one another. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the strength in the legs, maybe even lift the toes. Inhale. Reach the arms up over the top of the head. Exhale down to heart center. Close the eyes. Come back into the breath. Notice if your weight is shifted more into the toes or the heels. Notice what muscles in your body start to engage. And we'll begin a short balancing sequence here. Inhaling, opening the eyes, choosing a drishti or a focal point. Your eyes are fixated on this one point and they do not move from it. This is your new best friend. When you're ready, lift all 10 toes off the earth, spread them out wide, place them down. And then gently shift your weight over to left leg. Begin to engage through left standing leg, front of the thigh, outside of the buttocks, really nice and strong. And then when you're ready, maybe you tuck in the lower ribs, begin to bend right knee. Toe tip on the earth. If you're an advanced practitioner, begin to lift pelvic floor. From there, if you want, you can float right knee up, just so that the toe leaves the earth. Doesn't matter how high. Come back to the engagement of the outside of left hip, front of left thigh, and the tucking in of the lower ribs. Find height in the back of the head and allow the chin to come slightly closer to the neck. Smile behind your eyes. You're in a balancing posture. With this stability, you can go anywhere you want. Doesn't matter. You have the balance. We'll take one more breath. And then gently, slower than you came up, allow the right foot to step back down to the earth. Right foot touches, eyes closed. Take a breath. We'll repeat that now on the other side. So begin to, once again, stabilize through both feet. Lift all 10 toes up nice and high, spread them out wide. Outside edges of the feet parallel. It'll feel like you're a bit pigeon-toed, but that's to create a proper alignment of the femur into the pelvic girdle. When you're ready, shift your weight over into right foot. Start to stabilize through right leg, front of right thigh nice and strong, outside of right hip engaged. Find your breath. Tuck in the lower ribs. Lift through the pelvic floor. Keep the engagement in the outside of right hip, gluteus medius muscle. This is our stabilizer for standing balances. And when you feel ready, maybe you come to the tips of left toes. Begin to inhale. And with right thigh engaged, outside of right buttocks engaged, lower ribs tucked in, lots of attention to the height and the back of the head. Begin to lift left knee. Doesn't matter how high or low it goes. Find this stabilization through the outside of the right hip. Tuck in the lower ribs. Keep the breath nice and full. Here we are, we're balancing. Eyes on your focal point, on your drishti, somewhere across the room above the level of your head. Breathe. Slow. Calm. When you're ready, gently, slowly lower left leg. Close the eyes. Come back to the breath. From here, you can stand in Tadasana and finish your practice. Or if you'd like to come with us, we'll move into Shavasana. Inhale, lift to the tips of the toes. Tips, toes. Reach the arms out in front. Squeeze the legs together, lift the pelvic floor, find your drishti, your focal point, and then begin to slide your back down an imaginary wall behind you. We'll lower down to the earth really nice and slow all together. Allow the knees to bend, the heels stay high off the earth. And we come all the way down to a squat position. Feel that control that you have, that power that's inside of you. Exhale. Bend forward, hands can come to the earth. And then gently inhale, sit back between your legs. Extend your heels out to the corners of your mat. Or if you're practicing on the floor at home, allow your legs to open. And gently and slowly lay down upon your mat, preparing for Shavasana. Scoop the shoulder blades under the body. Create some space beneath the armpits. Palms flip open, facing the sky. We close our eyes and come inward. Namaste.